Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is in your end of the world, guys. Pretty windy here today, so I do apologize if the microphone's picking a lot of that up. I'm sure it is. I think we have a storm blowing in, as you can see in the background. Like I've mentioned in my previous videos, I haven't had a lot of time to upload this summer, so I'm just gonna get a few in before the kids go back to school, and then we're gonna get back to the regular sort of videos. I want to give you guys some tips today on what I've been selling over the summer and items that have continually sold well in the past couple years. And I wouldn't call them recession proof, but even though I feel that we are in the recession along with the United States, these are still selling well for me, and they've sold well over the summer, and we'll get right into this list. I'll tell you what's selling good for me locally and what I'm selling online, guys, because it is different. Not a big surprise there. So for me locally this year, I'm gonna say one of the top items I have been selling is actually DVDs and box sets, if you can believe it. Now, not big money items, but you can definitely make little lots. Sold a lot today for 20 bucks, but I've sold quite a few lots of stuff that, you know, maybe just has a little bit too many scratches on it or something to put on eBay that I don't want to deal with. The people that are buying them for their cottages or their campers and RVs and stuff, they have scratches on it. It's not a big deal because they still work. For me online, I don't want any bad reviews on my eBay account, so that's why I don't typically sell DVDs or video games with scratches on it, unless it's like a high-end video game where you put that disclaimer in that it's as is and it needs resurfacing or something. But definitely DVDs have been selling well for me, so if you have any kicking around the house and you want to make a few extra bucks, that's the first thing I would put on Facebook Marketplace. Second thing I would say for local guys, household items have been selling for me quite well. Now I'm talking soda streams, ironing boards, knife cutting boards, anything that's of a general use in a house, like more practical items. I've sold quite a bit of these over summer. I didn't put them in yard sales because they typically don't seem to sell well in yard sales for some reason. They seem to sell better on Marketplace. Now that might just be a product of the times, but locally I'm selling a lot of those items. I'm cleaning the garage out and the stockpile of yard sale junk I had. I pretty much have none of it left. Can't tell you how refreshing it is not to have a bunch of junk that you're trying to get rid of. I basically just have my eBay store stock now, and that's about it. So third locally, I'm gonna say the video game consoles have been excellent for me this summer. PS4s, Nintendo Wii's, Nintendo Wii U. I've sold a lot of duplicates that I had. I haven't typically been selling 360s. I think I'm gonna get back into that. They're not worth a lot, $40 or $50. I think I only have one left over. I was kind of hoping to trade it, a couple white ones for my boxes, and I also have a 360E that I might just sell it and buy another one because it's kind of got a few scuffs on it, so I don't know if it's something I want to buy a box for per se. It's not quite in good enough condition, I would say. Works really well though. Well, I might pop that on there too, but yeah, if you guys pick up Nintendo Wii's at yard sales for 10 bucks, throw a couple shovelware games with them, put 50 bucks on it, you'll sell it in a day. That's what I've been doing. I'm gonna say probably sold 4 or 5 of them this summer at least. I did put a PS4 up last night, and I've had a bunch of inquiries on that, so it'll sell in the next couple days too. It might be sold today, I don't know. Video games in general will sell, especially if you have games for the Switch. I would say that's the most high demand console right now is the Switch. Everyone's buying that. We plan on getting 2 of them for Christmas for our kids. We're going to get them each one. Now, I don't think I'm going to buy brand new ones. I'm definitely not getting the Switch 2. I'll look online, and I'm going to look locally and get one for cash. I've been saving up the cash for that, so that's what we're going to do. And the fourth one for local, I'm going to say just the tools and outdoor garden stuff. Now, this is stuff that will sell constantly, even if it is a recession or not. There's always a market for this. People don't want to pay full pop for these in the store, and it's not worth it. If you use a tool once or twice a year, there's no point buying something brand new if you can buy something used that's of a decent quality. It's going to last you forever. Who gives a crap, honestly, guys? With how things are going right now, I believe the used secondary market is going to be quite lucrative in the next few years here. Segue that into the next one, which is going to be my eBay sales and what has been selling for me while online. So surprisingly enough, CDs have been selling pretty good for me, but you need a certain type of CD, and the big heavy hitters for me are the 80s rock, you know, heavy metal, you know, so you're looking for Metallica, you're looking for Iron Maiden, you're looking for Kiss, you know, AC/DC, all that stuff. Even the ones that maybe weren't quite as popular, like Dokken and, you know, Wasp and all this stuff. If you're old like me, you probably know who I'm talking about. So 80s rock sells really well on there, guys. Even some of the 90s grunge is starting to make a resurgence, so you want to keep an eye out for that. Also in the CD categories that you have not heard of before, and if you see something that looks strange, you might want to pick it up, and I'll tell you why. Bought quite a few CDs from auctions. I'll pick them up on my travels at yard sales, and I'm talking about like classical, you know, ethnic stuff that's, you know, not even yours. I'll give you an example. I picked up a brand new CD that was in Chinese the other day, so I had to use Google Lens, and I put it on eBay. I think it was, I put it on for 20 bucks. I picked it up at a yard sale for $1, sold it in the same day I put it up. So just an example, if you see stuff that's weird and it's really cheap, you know, and they're easy to list, I would definitely pick them up. I've sold quite a bit of those in the past couple of years, and they've still been flying in the summer times. It might be just kind of a niche thing you want to get into, and it might help your sales on eBay and online in general. I'm going to say the second one that I've been doing really well with is digital cameras. This again, these seem to sell no matter what. Now there's a certain era you want to look for, kind of, I'm going to say, you know, 2000 something, in that ballpark of 8 megapixels and up. That's probably what I would look for. The 35 mil stuff doesn't seem to sell very well. And even the little camcorders and stuff. Now this is a big broad category you want to do your research in. Again, just remember the name brands: Nikon, Canon, Sony, that kind of stuff. You're not going to go wrong with it. I sold one just the other day, and I'm just waiting on a battery for another one. Easy sales, and these ones were ones Tim and I picked up a week ago for, I paid $5 each for them. Easy money on those. You have to keep in mind some people will still collect things no matter how crappy the economy is. I would say, for example, stuff like Pokemon cards, people are going to buy those whether the economy's shit or not, guys. It's just the way it is. Just a little tidbit for you guys. In general, the sports card market is still pretty good online. It's not something I'm into. Sport cards, Dave sells sports cards, and you know, Tim knows more about Pokemon cards. I'm not really into it. I was when I was a kid. It's still a very lucrative market locally and online. Next category that's been doing well for me on eBay is new old stock items, and I'm just going to keep this in a general thing because I don't want to dive into it too much. But what I'm talking about is, you know, vintage dolls, dryer horses, you know, vintage car parts. Anything that's new old stock seems to hold a decent value. And I picked up a ton of this stuff early in the spring, and it's been really good for me just puttering over the summer and going out, guys. And you have to understand, online for this is where you're probably going to sell it. Someone up north here, like in Canada per se, they can't go to a local thrift store or flea market and stuff and pick this stuff up. They have to go online to get it. And that's where you're probably going to get the sales for these. Category for online eBay stuff, I'm going to say it's water filters. Now, if you're out and about at yard sales, you are going to see a lot of fridge water filters, and you know, it could be for anything. It could be a pool filter, it could be a vacuum filter, you know, it does not matter. Just look it up when you're there. I've sold tons of filters I picked up, and they're the easiest things to find. A lot of the times they're very light, they're easy to ship, and you can make a few bucks on the shipping on the back end too, guys. So just keep an eye out for filters, easy money. Category I've been doing really well on eBay is printer cartridges. Now, you find these at yard sales all day, all summer. You'll find them at the side of the road. People just throw them away. I don't understand. It doesn't seem like something that sells very well locally. Picked up so many free ones and sold them, guys. I couldn't count how much money I've made just off printer ink. It's such an easy thing to sell. Really, the bang for your buck on that, you can't beat it. Next category I'll dabble into a little bit here is still, the video games are still hot. You know, you got your Pokemons and stuff on the Nintendos. You got your Marios. I'm not going to go into it because I went over this like countless times. You know, if you find the heavy hitters on the Wii, you'll sell them in a day. You'll find any Pokemon for Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, you know, GameCube games, anything like that. They're easy money online, guys. You find them at yard sales, pick them up and flip them. It's easy money. Jump into the categories of DVDs right now. My DVD and Blu-ray sales online have been kind of slow. I usually sell, I'm going to say, you know, maybe one every day or two. It's not a lot. The stuff that's uncommon that is selling, buying a lot of the common stuff, unless you're going to do bulk lots of it or something, the money's just not there right now. Also, box sets. If you have a season series and stuff like that, they are still selling online too, guys, so just keep an eye out for those ones. Regular DVDs, I wouldn't be buying too many of them right now. I'm going to say the last thing online that I've done really well this year, guys, is watches. Now, I didn't purposely go out and buy watches. I always keep an eye out for them. But my wife actually had a few watches from back, I'm going to say probably 2000s era. There were Swatches, and then there was one other one. I can't remember the brand, but it's a well-known brand. They have sold really well. And again, these are something that you would be able to pick up at a yard sale or a flea market pretty cheap. And they've sold for astonishingly good money, so you want to keep an eye out for those. Definitely, it's a thing you want to put on eBay. I don't think locally you'd be able to sell them very well. Definitely on eBay. So I'm going to say the overall winner for me this summer has been the diminutive Nintendo Wii. Like I said, I've sold numerous of them this summer. I've been able to get rid of a lot of the shovelware games I have for the console. And Tim and I had talked about this earlier. We're just trying to declutter all of the extra stuff we have. Like, I don't need 20 Wii nunchucks. You know, I don't need 20 Wii controllers. So every time I pick up one of these consoles, I don't give a crap if they got a controller with them, or they have the bar with them, or the power supply, or if they're missing the front gates, because I have all of that stuff in totes. I got totes full of this stuff. I want to make it a point this year, guys, to declutter that and just collect nice, complete stuff that I want for my collection. And that goes for, you know, my Genesis games and NES and Super Nintendo and stuff. At some point, you got to ask yourself, are you a collector, or are you just hoarding stuff? You know, I think I have 3 Sega Genesis version 2s. Like, I don't need 3 of those. So it's stuff like that where it's like, yeah, maybe it's time to sell one of those, you know, put the money away for something that you really want, or use it to complete some other consoles, you know, stuff like that, guys. At a certain point, it gets a little ridiculous. Wind's picking up here. I'm sure my hair looks like Ricky from Trailer Park Boys. Need a haircut bad. Anyways, I think I'm going to get out of here, guys. Those are just some tips to help you sell over the summer when it's really slow out. I don't know if I would call the stuff recession proof, but it kind of is. It seems to still be selling no matter what's going on in the world. Keep an eye out for those items. I'll come back with some more tips and stuff at the end of the summer. I'm going to let you know how this quarter went for me, and then we're going to jump into Q4, and that's going to be awesome. I can't wait. See you in the next one. Peace.